War flashbacks to your visit in Liverpool. Yeah, I've been to Liverpool twice, both times to get a passport, because that's where the main office is. And I can't understand what they're saying there either. And that's only like, what, 50 miles away? I can't understand them. It's weird. It's like he's trying to speak to me, I know it, yeah. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, deadly accident. So if it's not a deadly accident, then the Randall gang was blamed. This means the acquaintance with the sailor is not going to hold water either. Robbery was not the motive. We know robbery was not the motive because we found the silverware. It was in the well. And we know there weren't 3 people, there were 2 people. In that case, we got a different conclusion. It's like Texas and Louisiana, you can't understand the goddamn thing the Cajuns are saying. Uh-huh. Yeah, but again, that's like a huge space for accents to change and develop over, like, you know, a gradual gradient, whereas here it's like you cross the border and it's totally different. Like you cross a town border into another town and you're like, whoa. What? What are you saying? Not really? Oh, is it really that close then? Like, are you talking literally over the border? Oh, really? Over a 30-minute drive it can change? Oh, okay then. So we got a domestic accident. So the death of Sir Eustace was an accident caused by a struggle with his wife. I doubt that. I don't think she would have been able to shove him over. Absolve Lady Brackenstall and her maid committed the crime in self-defence. You decide that there's no point in blaming the poor woman. Or Lady Brackenstall and her maid killed Sir Eustace in an attempt to cover their crime. They deserve to be treated like criminals. I don't buy either of these. Neither of them would have been tall enough to cut the rope at the height it was cut. Let alone tie her up with sailor's knots. You know, that's a force of habit. I'll just tie you up. There we go. Make it look like, you know, whatever happened. But what if we still said it was a deadly accident? Acquaintance with sailor then. So that means Crocker's alibi has to be involved. See, the thing is, it could still have been a deadly accident, but Crocker was the one who did it. Why does this not pair up into anything? That's a weird one. This should pair up into something, in my opinion. So he could have struck his head on the fireplace grate after the captain shoved him out of the way, and he tumbled and fell and cracked his head, and they were like, oh god, we need to stage this. Background acquaintance with sailor. So this is all adding up right, but I think this should give an option. It doesn't have to be the blow to the head with the poker. Why does deadly accident only line up when we're considering the wife as a suspect and not the sailor? I mean, the blow with the poker could have been done post-death to lend credence to a story that he was hit with a poker by one of the Randall gang, and that's when he fell to the floor. But the blood all over the fireplace grate suggests otherwise. Let's just make sure we haven't missed any extra clues. We might have extra things we need to find still.
What should we do next, Holmes?
Alright. Let's go back to Abbey Grange. Gotta go? No problem. Thanks for dropping by quick. We'll see you later. Probably not see you on Saturday, if I remember. You said you were going to be away as well. So, but we'll see you as and when. Have a good day, Alchemist. Right, did we miss anything at all in here? Nothing we can do here.
The head was cracked with the force of the blow.
Yeah, but what did it hit? That's the thing. There's blood splatter on the ground, but that could have happened when he fell. And more blood just sloshed over. But yeah, the fireplace grate is covered in blood, which is weird.
It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow. That is one possible explanation.
The other one being that he was shoved and fell on it and that caused his death. This is the fatal implement. And then they picked up the fire poker and whacked him in the head afterwards to put blood on it. Make the wound look more convincing. Because it was an accident. That's what I believe. Oh.
A fur trader's cabin.
Hang on a minute, there's a door here.
This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there.
Okay. So here's what I think was happening. I'll walk you all through this. So, those two glasses there, there's three glasses. One has beeswing in it, the other two don't. And there is an unused decanter. Let's double check. Doesn't look as though the decanter was used.
A decanter standing next to the open bottle. An inseparable pair indeed.
There's no residue or staining on it. So this wine bottle was opened, not decanted, and two glasses don't have beeswing in it, and a third one does. That's the weirdness. Now they say that three burglars came in, the Randall gang probably. Then they attacked her. She was downstairs. They attack her, tie her up to the chair. The husband comes to help, fights them off with his cane, but they whack him on the head with a poker and he dies. And then when she came to, she saw all three of them drinking wine. And then they left, and the maid came a bit later and found them and, untied her and found the silverware was stolen. But the silverware was actually dropped in the well in a seed bag that had been taken from the shed. We've since recovered that, so we know it wasn't robbery. Why would the Randall gang do that? Why did they not take other valuables, including the brooch off of her, collar and so on? Yeah, it's so weird. So, two of these glasses have had wine drunk out of them. This one here has beeswing in it and what looks like extra wine at the bottom. So, since there was no wine left in the bottle, probably, I believe Captain Crocker and Lady Brackenstall were having an affair. He came over one night. They were having drinks together. The husband came downstairs and saw them and had a fight. Afterwards, after the fatal, shove to the floor, hit with the poker, whatever happened, whatever form of defense happened, I believe it was defense, because he was probably already drunk anyway. They then decided to stage this as the Randall gang robbery. Grabbed another glass, poured the dregs of their wine into their own glass. That's why there's beeswing in one but not in the other two. Why was it not decanted? The maid was in bed. Lady Brackenstall doesn't know how to decant wine, probably. Servants do that, right? Exactly, yeah, that there as well. Burglars don't decant their wine. I said that earlier on. I said they would have just popped that open, let's have some of this posh wine, and poured it into a glass and just drunk. There'd be beeswing in all three glasses. Yeah, maybe not an affair. Maybe the husband thought it was like an indication of an affair. Maybe she just knew him. She doesn't have any other friends in London, apparently, so she barely leaves the house at all, if ever, since she arrived here a year ago from Adelaide. So the captain and her maybe forged a friendship instead. Whatever it is, they're acquainted. I told you that burglars, not savages. You did say that, yeah, but so anyway, Captain Crocker fights off a drunk husband who had probably gone to bed early because he passed out drunk. She's got a bruise on her face that could have been a fresh bruise. Captain could have been, he's had his fill of this. He keeps going to see this lovely lady, and here's this brute is beating her on regular basis, and then he'd had enough. Maybe that was a red mist moment for him. It's like, you are an arsehole and I'm going to crack you in the head with your own fire poker. Either way, he's killed him. And then they've staged this whole thing with the wine glasses, ransacked the room a little bit. There's the missing bottle, which is on the table. Took the silverware. Toby, well, then he tied her to the chair with the bell cord. Look how high up that's cut. A tall person had to do that. So that's why I don't think that Captain Crocker wasn't involved. He must have done. Look at the height of that cut. Cut with a knife, because we checked the cut types on the rope. And tied her to the chair using sailor's knots out of habit. He then took the silverware out here. He went over to the shed, because Toby followed the scent, to the shed first, whereupon he removed a seed bag, an empty seed bag. He then crossed over here between these trees to the well and dropped it in there after he wrapped the silverware up. And then he ran over here and fled over the wall, leaving Lady Brackenstall tied up in there to pretend like the Randall gang had broken in and done all of this when she calls the police. The maid might not even know all this transpired, or she might have come down in the middle of the ruckus, saw it, she's in on the lie, whatever, not important. But yeah, over on this table was a newspaper article depicting who the Randall gang are, what they look like, and how they go about their business, and she regurgitated it word for word. And that's what I think's happened.
What a horrible thing to have happened.
Please leave my Mary alone. She's suffered so much.
Okay, I'm going. Lestrade.
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about all this.
I'll look at you however I please, sir. So the captain is the killer. That I'm very convinced about. He was an honest man. That much we could tell from his demeanour and his like the way he carries himself, which makes me think he's not a bad guy. And to be honest, you know, I'm not shedding a tear for the dead guy, given how brutish he was. Lestrade told us that this guy set somebody's dog on fire because it was barking too loud. And he threw a decanter at someone else once. He also threw one at the maid. He's obviously abusing his wife. He's not a nice man. I can see how the captain might have thought, screw this, in the middle of a fight. He's like, you think you're fighting me as well? Fine, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. And it went too far. So we make a moral choice. We can either have him arrested as a murderer, bring him and his accomplice Lady Brackenstall to justice, but that we'd do that if we thought this was a premeditated murder. If she brought him here and said, please kill my husband. I don't think that happened either. So I think we're going to absolve him. We're just going to tell nobody and say, no, this is clearly, you know, a Randall gang thing. I mean, we could just finger the Randall gang for it anyway and let the police take the credit. This way, Holmes, you know, he looks like he hasn't been able to solve it this way. That wouldn't do for Holmes. What would Sherlock do? But he also wouldn't give an incorrect solution. That would rub him the wrong way inside. He'd be eaten up by that. No, I'm going to go with this. Absolve Captain Crocker. The murder was committed in self-defense. Jack Crocker defended a woman against a violent, dipsomaniacal man. The mystery is solved, but you decide to keep it a secret. There's no need to inform the police. It's done. We have made our moral choices, and we will live by them. They did try to put the blame on some innocent burglars. I know, okay. They're not as good at people as I'm making out then. How dare they, you know. Blaming those poor innocent burglar people. They've got to make a living too at the end of the day. It's hard in Victorian London.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
And please wash your face, Wiggins. And barely an hour has passed. See, he's here
Why did you
quickly.
make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow.
Yeah. The wife and
And
maid won't be
because
capable
you
of
are
that.
the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's
Probably
true.
does.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her,
Oh, so they didn't make a regular affair of this.
I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. And it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Whoa! No, 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 no. Oh, God. Quick time events! Ah!
Please forgive me, Captain Crocker. I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far exceeded my expectations.
Man.
See here, Captain Crocker, we'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used reasonable force to protect an innocent victim from her husband's brutality. Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty.
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox Dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not find some other victim, you are safe from me.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and if he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced this night. Inspector, I'm afraid that the murderers have escaped us.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it. Goodbye, Inspector.
You think the captain could look more pleased? Yeah. Some people, though, you know, no gratitude. So, Sir Eustace was murdered by Captain Jack Crocker who was visiting Lady Brackenstall that night. They staged it as a robbery by the Randall gang. Crocker used his sea knife to cut the bell rope to tie the lady, and then hid the silverware in the well. Jack Crocker defended a woman against a violent, dipsomaniacal man. You've decided to keep it a secret. So let's accept that decision. We're going to check all the conclusions when we're done as well, like the full game. We'll go back and we'll see how many we got right. I know we got 1 wrong, but I choose to retcon that in my head, that it was the right one. because I knew that from my first playthrough of this game before. So let's see. Okay, I mean, it was pretty open and shut. It's fairly glaringly obvious the Randalls weren't involved, so you just have to work through from that. So 93% of people solved it the same way, and 65% made a moral choice like we did. Good. Another 35% of people are monsters. But, you know. Right, this one. I have not done this mystery. I only got part way into it. I got distracted and I never came back to the game. So this is a new one for me. This one I have no idea about at all.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous.
And we live with bees.
dangerous.
They're
Hell no.
domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment, a theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, how ever did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Kew Gardens is quite a distance away from Baker Street. Oh, there we go.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
What are we doing, Holmes?
Let us find someone who could help us.
Right. 2 steps later.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer, and without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens, and that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Very British.
Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
So, plants from the east and the lands of the rising sun. So this was like a collection of like Chinese, Japanese, that kind of thing.
Do not touch.
Yes, Holmes, do not touch.
The plants were here. All of them was stolen.
Imagination helps you visualize, but there's nothing to visualize yet. Let's see what we've got over here.
Do not touch.
Plant list.
Here is a list of the stolen plants.
Florum diabolica. That sounds like a plant I want. Have to water it in blood. Okay, what have we got here? Some kind of basin.
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead. The traces are thinner in some places.
Like he was dragging his feet.
These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here.
I've been watching the Sherlock series again, and I've actually been reading one of the books that I've had since I was like 12 or 13. It's a complete list, or complete collection of all the Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. Clearly it's rubbing off. Yeah, I deduced that on my own. I didn't need the game to tell me anything. That was great. So proud of myself.
Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here.
Got dirt.
Soil. It should have come from a flower pot.
And more dirt on the ground.
Soil. It should have come from a flower pot.
Also a crack in the door.
The door was smashed at shoulder height.
We staggered into the door.
This door handle is new. It was recently changed.
Probably broke the handle off. Yeah, the latch is smashed as well.
The esconson was breached near the handle. The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to...
Very strange. Half of the Colonial Collection is absent. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.